Hey there, Joe Gilder here from homestudiocorner.com/presonus. Head over there to get access to all of my free Studio One tutorial videos. There are dozens and dozens of them waiting for you. Today I want to talk about one of the other really cool new features inside of Studio One. It has to do with inserts, or plugins if you like to call them. So here is a typical, I used this in an earlier video, here's just a couple of plugins on a simple drum bus, right? This song is in progress. I just did a little bit of EQ, a little bit of compression to tighten things up while I work on the song and finish the arrangement and recording and all that fun stuff. So what I want to show you is, you'll notice, if you've been using Studio One for a while, you'll notice there's a cute little button up here, and when you hover over it, it's called routing. And you click on that and you see this. Now that doesn't look like much. It just kind of looks like an overview of what plugins you have on the track. Big deal, right? Well, yeah, that's what I thought at first too. But then you come in here, you can add inserts, which that's not really a big deal, but you can add this splitter thing, and you can add it anywhere along this line. This line is like a, if you're used to looking at signal diagrams of how signal is routed through a piece of equipment, that's what this line is. And when I insert a splitter, boom, it splits it out into two paths, two of the same paths that I can put different things on. I can have multiple splitters if I want, or I can move the splitters to split and to split the split signal. Like there's crazy amounts of stuff you can do, and it adds to a ton of ability to create. So I'm not going to show you in this video exactly all the different ways that I use these splitters. It's more so just to give you an idea that you have them and to kind of show you the overview of how they work. To remove one, you just simply hover over that. If you want to take this signal and split it again, you can do that. If you want to change the number of splits that are on a splitter, so it defaults to 2, split something in half. But if you select the splitter, you'll see you've got some options over here. So I can make this a 3-way split or a 15-way split. Okay, oh, maybe, okay, 5's the limit. Okay, 15 would be awesome, but we'll stick with 5. So we'll go back to 2. So why is this useful? Well, if you want to route your signal through, the typical way is if you want to route your signal through a compressor and have half the signal going through the compressor and the other half not. Now, I showed you how to do this with the mix knob on a compressor, setting it at 50%, but this gives you another option. And an option that allows you to do that sort of thing with plugins that maybe don't have a mix knob on them, or a series of plugins. So let's say you want to run it through an EQ and a distortion plugin and a delay, but you only want to send that half the signal through that for some reason. That is where the splitter comes in. You can also rearrange plugins within the split. You can put an EQ first before the compressor, or you can put a EQ after the split, EQ during the split, or EQ before the compressor in the split. Now, a couple of different ways the split works. It defaults to the normal split, which just sends 2 copies of the signal through each side and they join back together at the bottom. Okay, but there's a couple other ways you can do it. You can do a channel split, which basically is kind of what it sounds like. It splits your signal between left and right. So if you want to make your left signal have one type of delay and your right signal have another type of delay, you can do that. And then there's frequency split if you want to treat it more like some sort of a multi-band processor. So if you want to make it a 3-band processor, you change it to a 3-way splitter, and then you adjust the frequencies. So this means everything below 150 is going through the left path. Everything between 160 and, let's say, 3K is going down the middle, and everything above 3K is over here. If you wanted to piece together some sort of Frankenstein multi-band compressor where you use your favorite bass compressor here, your favorite vocal compressor here, and your favorite high-frequency, really bright-sounding compressor here, you theoretically could do that. I don't know if that's something I would do, but maybe you find a really cool sound by doing that. Or maybe you have a compressor with a different EQ following it, or a plug-in here, or a harmonic exciter in the low end that's not also in the mids and the highs. You suddenly have so many options. I would encourage you not to get lost in trying every option you can possibly try, but maybe on your next mix or your next writing session, do something interesting here. Maybe it's putting different instruments in place with different effects on them and blending them together. Maybe I'm talking about virtual instruments just then. Or maybe it's, like I said, trying to split up and put different processors in different frequency ranges to see if it gives you some new creative sound. But there's a lot of options here. And what's really cool is you have these mute switches. So as you're trying things out, you can mute one or all of the sections. So if we go back to a normal split, two-way split, we can quickly mute this side. You can see it's muted because the signal disconnects, like an old signal diagram. So now we're just listening to the dry signal, and we can enter it back in, and we can mute the other side. So very cool way to kind of take away what we're working on and bring it back in and see how it's affecting the sound. So this can happen. You can do this on every channel. You can do this on your master bus. You can do this really anywhere. And the options, as you can imagine, are only limited by your imagination and the different plugins that you have. So a lot of cool things you can do here. If you haven't played around with the splitter, it's definitely worth trying something. Maybe start with your drum bus and see how things work there. And then expand out vocals, guitars. There's a lot of things you can really get into some crazy stuff here. And I'd love to hear about it. Come leave a comment on YouTube or Home Studio Corner. Let me know what you're doing with these splitters. But otherwise, thanks for watching this video. I'm Joe from homestudiocorner.com/PreSonus. Head over there to get more free Studio One videos.